Thanks all for being here. For those watching online, obviously an exciting last 24 hours, and really for me, the last 2 weeks or so. Thor and I have a tremendous relationship. I have so much respect for him as a human being, as an administrator, as a colleague, obviously being in the Atlantic 10 together, and even predating that when I was at Yale and he was here at UMass. And so we often have talked really regularly about just the business and about what we're doing, and how obviously I know the love that he has for this place and how important UMass is to him. And I happened to just be coming back from Boston a couple weeks ago and gave him a call, and just we were shooting the breeze here and talking about things that were happening. And I asked him if he would ever consider leaving Rhode Island, and I don't think he understood exactly where the question was going to go. But I referenced in particular the need that we had to really have another voice, another administrator, an advisor for me, and somebody that I could lean on and trust really over here in our football program. And when we talked through it on that initial call, I could tell his energy, and it was a little bit of a shot in the dark for me to inquire, but we talked a few more times in the following days, and I think the concept of what we're trying to build here and the vision, and sharing with him all of the things that we're trying to deliver and the ways that we're going to do it, I think was something that ultimately he gravitated to. And this place means a lot to him, and he'll speak about that. But for us, one of the things that Joe's referenced and what we've tried to do here, especially in the last 2 years since we made the announcement that we were going to go to the MAC, was to put together a support system and administrative infrastructure and support infrastructure and all the resources that a growing FBS program has needed. And we haven't had that in a decade plus, candidly, and being an independent was really challenging. And I feel like the opportunity to get into the Mid-American Conference and have alignment of resources, and really this is another big step for us to take to make sure that we're giving Joe, the men on his staff, and ultimately our student athletes every opportunity to find success, and for this program to go and be a championship program again like we've known in its history. And so this is a big step for us to make sure that Joe feels supported, that we've got a voice in this building that can continue to add value and to be a great advisor and an advocate, and ultimately help us get this program back where we all want it. So a great day from our perspective and from the university's perspective especially.
Great, thank you. Excuse my voice, I have a little laryngitis, but finally feeling better. I am so happy and so thankful to Ryan, so thankful to Joe for the opportunity to be back on this campus. I got here a little bit early and took a walk on that football stadium, and yes, it's a little different than it was in 1986, but my memories just came flooding back to me. It was just amazing. It's a special place. Football is really important to me. When I think about the impacts that it's had on my life and my personal development, this entire institution has made such a significant difference for me. And so when Ryan reached out and shared his vision, again, we've been friends for a long time. That's important. But to be honest with you, the reason I'm here is because of the vision he shared. I've known Joe too. I think Joe is a great coach. Watching him coach at Maine and getting to know him while he was there, and then following his career both at Minnesota and Rutgers. He's not a good coach, he's a great coach, and that excites me. But then the difference being, and it can't be understated, this move to the MAC was a significant decision by this university that's going to put this football program in position to be competitive, to go win championships, get to bowl games. I know that seems, maybe a little bit off in the future. And that was a great question you asked Joe about immediate, what type of immediate success can you see? There is no such thing. When I look at this program and I look at this move to the MAC, the thing that gets me so excited is there's stability now. Stability that you can't have as an independent unless you're Notre Dame. And again, that gets talked about a lot, but it's real. And that's the piece that excites me. And then when we start talking about, and Ryan shared with me his vision about stadium renovations and support as it relates to NIL and support as it relates to staff, Those are significant commitments that this university's making, that Ryan's making, the chancellor's making, to put Joe and his staff and these amazing players who I had the chance to meet with today a little bit, in position to achieve all their goals. So this is exciting. I'm fired up. It's something that makes me really jacked. It's funny, I was saying to these guys at lunch, being around football players my entire life, whether it was here for 14 years or at Rhode Island for the past 18, they're all the same. And what they are is great character men. They're people that understand what leadership is developed by being part of a football program. And I can already see their love and passion for this school. It's the same love and passion that myself and my teammates, so many of which I heard from yesterday when this announcement came out, and then also 14 years with the guys that I got to know when I was working here. It was special. It's family. And I am so honored and thrilled to be here.
All right, we'll open up for questions.
So for clarification, Ryan, you made the hire?
Yes.
And how much influence did Chancellor Reyes have in this decision? Can you speak a little bit on his role, what he had in this?
I just informed him that I was interested in, we had an opening last June when Jeff Smith, our deputy AD, left to go be the rec director across the street here at UMass. And I held on that position, filling that position, not really fully understanding or knowing what we wanted to do with that role and kind of developing in what we're finding is a new era in college athletics and really kind of sitting on it for a little bit. And it became clearer to me this fall that this was something that I really wanted to make sure that the infrastructure for football was solidified. And that, candidly, I don't, football from a physical plant standpoint sits here in the corner of campus. I'm down at the Mullen Center. A lot of our administrative staff's in Boyden. And it doesn't lend itself to being here every day and being around it, and that's not fair. I felt like, even half the season in to Joe, and Joe and I would talk every day. When I could get over here, I would, and where we'd talk on the phone. But it was really something I said I need to have a seasoned administrator with experience sitting in football to help. And so I talked to the chancellor. I said, this is what I'd like to do. This is how I'd like to carve this out. These are the ways that I think that Thor can ultimately have impact and affect on this program. And he was like, if you think this is a good move and you think it's going to help our football program, then I'm supportive. So yeah, 100% my idea. I brought it to Thor before I brought it to anybody to see if he was going to be interested. And this is a really important role, but it's a really important role because of him. And their relationship was also kind of a unique thing because they've known each other. And so I just, to have somebody who's been in a Division I AD chair for 18 years, and you see this a lot at the power forward level. You see a lot of ADs hiring other ADs. And I just felt like it was kind of the next step that we needed to take to ultimately grow not only the football program, but our athletics program and our athletics department. So 100% my decision, and the chancellor's been really supportive of it all the way through.
For Thor, you talked about it there, but can you share a little bit more? What is it about that vision that Ryan laid out to you that was so,
Sure. I think, again, I can't emphasize the move to the MAC. I mean, that's a big move, and that's a big statement. And that's a statement that says football is important. That's a football move. So it starts with that. And when I got that phone call from him, when the decision was made, I still remember where I was sitting in my house, and I just thought, wow, that's a bold move. I think it's great. And then when he starts talking about some of the investments around the stadium, again, I wasn't kidding when I said I walked around the stadium, and it's definitely different than it was when I played here, sure. But it brings back great memories. But it needs some work, right? So when he shared with me some of the vision about what that work can be and it's going to look like, and I get to be part of that development and so forth, that was exciting because that's going to make another significant move to this program. It needs to be done. NIL support, another thing that's going to be really important. Whether people like it or don't like it, it's critically important to the success of all athletics programs now. So as we've all navigated that for a couple of years, and under the new House settlements, it's different and in some ways better. I think that gives us a lot more flexibility. So when he talked through some of the specifics with that, I realized, again, significant investment in vision there. Vision is important, but then deliverables are even more important. And I think that that's what the comfort level that I got in the things that he shared with me that got me really fired up and really excited. So, I think that, everything's teed up to have a lot of fun and see some great success here. I was very fortunate to be part of a lot. Yeah, FCS, I get it. A lot of great championships throughout my career here. So it's there, it's doable. And again, all the confidence in the world to go out for Joe and his team to go out and his staff to go out and evaluate players and get them here. It's a great place to sell to young men to be part of.
And in terms of improving the product on the field, is that the area you think that you'll be the most helpful in terms of NIL and acquiring talent?
No, I think my job is to work with Joe from an administrative side, from a development side, work with Ryan as it relates to, every administrative aspect to this program. I can certainly help and be part of that, but they're the experts in that area. My job is to be supportive and advocacy. What does that mean? It means looking at budgets. It means thinking creatively. It means thinking about scheduling, looking at ways that we can come up with significant maybe changes in how we conduct ourselves and our program, but not as it relates to calling plays. You happy about that, Coach? Not as it relates to picking out a recruit. Am I going to meet with every recruit if as part of this? Absolutely, because that's the part of my job that I love. I get to sell something I believe in, and there's something that when you can answer those questions to parents and kids and be able to say what my experience has been like, that's an important piece for me, and I hope that we can deliver on that. I got a nice note from a former player who still remembered me meeting with his grandfather and his mom 20 years ago. That brought back some great memories, and that's important. So again, I've been fortunate enough to sit in the athletic director chair for 18 years. I've been able to learn and navigate what the administrative side of being part of a program is all about. There's a lot to it, and I think that I hope that that's the type of knowledge and experience that I can bring to help Ryan and Joe and the entire athletic department. That's what also excites me. I think Frank Martin's a great coach. I got to see Greg Cannell. I know he just retired, but great lacrosse coach. There's so many great programs here. Hockey, obviously, unbelievable. So there's just all about the UMass athletics family is special and exciting. So I'd like to think that that's the value that I can bring to this group.
And you guys have all referenced it. I mean, can you just tell us more about what your and Joe's pre-existing relationship,
Sure.
how did it start, and what's it like?
Yeah, no, Joe was the head coach at Maine, and we were at CAA meetings together, and that's where we first met, and just really developed a good friendship. I go to Maine every year. My mom's from Maine, so we go up there for vacation, and he invited me to play in a Maine Football Foundation golf tournament one year, and then we went and played Liam Cohen, and Joe and I played golf right before he went out to Minnesota. I think he was right before he went to Minnesota, right, Coach?
Yes, it was.
And just, again, building those relationships. It's trust. Because you know what? There's times that we're going to have hard conversations. There's going to be times that we're going to disagree. There's going to be times, I told Ryan this when he asked me about coming back. I said, Ryan, there's going to be times that we're going to be behind closed doors, and I'm going to tell you things that I think you need to hear, but you may not want to, and vice versa. You only do that when you have trust and relationships, because those conversations can be hard. I'm not a micromanager, and I think our staff will always say that. What I am is someone that hopefully can be that advocate, can throw some ideas out and make some suggestions, and then really carry that message forward. And again, I think my passion for this place, in a lot of ways, has to do with some of the connections I've had, and to be able to tell this football story out there to teammates and to alums and season ticket holders. I mean, I started my career as a ticket manager here just a couple of years ago, and that's sarcasm. And so it's sometimes when my jokes don't go over, I gotta explain them. But so no, that's kind of how I envision all this. And Joe and I have been friends for 10 years, 8 years.
Yeah, about, yeah.
And that trust thing is important.
Ryan, could you just clarify what your role and responsibilities will be moving forward?
In terms of, I mean, I'm the leader of this department. I'm the director of athletics. My role hasn't changed. My job hasn't changed. And, I think one of the things, too, obviously we're sitting here at a football press conference with Coach Harasymiak and introducing Thorr at this time. But Thor's role is much bigger than just football, too. And I want to recognize that as our chief administrative officer, as somebody who's going to be counsel to me, somebody who's going to really help lead our functional management of this department. And I think his experience, his acumen, his intellect, and all the ways that he has acquitted himself in administrative circles for decades now will lend itself to tremendous value for this athletic program. But listen, there's no doubt. For me, it's really important that we have success in this program. And obviously, the last decade that I've been here has been a struggle for a number of reasons. And I fully recognize that I'm the leader of the whole department, and ultimately, that falls on me, right? The buck stops here. We all want to win. Everybody wants to win. Our fan base wants to win. We're built to win. We're now built to win. We weren't built to win for a long time. We're built to win now. And we all recognize the impact, the expectation, and the energy that that's going to take. And there's no doubt that that this hire and this move and this appointment to bring Thor here will serve us well to that end.
Yeah, for Ryan, you mentioned you wanted help with football to be a major component of this position. What have been the specific weak points with how this program has been run up to this point that you feel Thor can help with?
It's not really. I think the gaps were just. I think this day and age, I'm being pulled in a lot of different directions. In a perfect world, I mean, you see it at the NFL level, you see it at Power 4 level. I can't be everywhere I need to be. I need to go fight for this program externally. I need to go drive NIL revenue. I need to go engage donors around facility projects. I need to go meet with trustees in the president's office and the chancellor and advocate for what we're trying to do. And that all of those things are hard to do when you also want to be at football practice 2 hours a day. And it's just not possible. And I recognize that, and I was spreading myself thin. And candidly, I wasn't great in any one area, and that's hard to do. And it's, for me, I think a lot of times in leadership, you have to figure out how to check your ego and say, what's the best thing for the organization? I talk about that all the time with our staff. We have to make decisions that are in the best interest of the organization. This was a decision in the best interest of the organization to bring somebody here who can help our football program, one of our flagship programs, drive excellence. And ultimately, that's what it's all about. And I'm excited to have that partner in Thor that I know will he'll lend his expertise in a way that, and the way that I view him and the way that we connect will ultimately help carry this program forward. And we've got a great coach in Joe. I've been so impressed with Coach Harasymiak in the last, 10 months, 11 months that we've had him here. We're building the right things, the right culture. Nobody wants to hear this because everybody's impatient. And listen, it's talk, and talk is cheap, and we got to go do it. I get that. But we've got all the right things in place. And I am extremely bullish about what the opportunities are in front of us. And I also recognize that needing help and going out and getting that help is a necessary step to meet those goals.
You said that there'll be $25 to $30 million in revenue kind of being upgraded at the end of the month that you want to announce. Is Thor going to be a part of that upgrade? Are you guys going to announce that together, or what's the process going to be about that?
In terms of the state, you're talking about the stadium upgrades?
Or any upgrades that you mentioned that are going to be coming?
Yeah, so I don't know, a month and a half ago, I talked about the stadium in a press conference relative to the investments that we're making there. Those designs are still, in fact, Joe and I just went through and I shared with Thor some of the things that we're looking at doing. We're honing in on all of the design aspects. When you're at a state, public state university, there's a lot of things that have to happen from a bid process and all those things that are still need to take shape. We're hopeful that we'll be able to come out with at least the concepts of what we're trying to address here in the next month or two. Again, I can't jump ahead of steps that aren't athletic steps. They're institutional steps. They're UMass building authority steps, state steps that we have to do to get permissions ultimately to land where we want. But the investment in the facility has been a long time coming. We've been working on it for a while. We actually had a lot of things building before COVID hit. Then COVID hit, and you saw that we did a couple things. We added a video board, we added bathrooms. You know, I think people are often surprised, our fans aren't, because they lived it for a while. We didn't have running water and bathrooms in this facility until 2019. Kind of hard to sell FBS football when you don't have bathrooms for your patrons until 2019. So that was the first step of many. We addressed some ADA issues back then as well. We had a design to do more, but COVID hit. We got our budget cut considerably, and so we're now addressing all of those things. So, long answer short, Thor will absolutely be part of another good set of eyes and ears and thought on what we can do to impact the fan experience, and ultimately how it might address some of the things that we find in recruiting young men and bringing them here, and what the aesthetic of the stadium is. Obviously, it's not great when, people come and say it's if not the worst, it's one of the worst FBS stadiums. Like, we have to address this, and now we're going to. And I think there's a team of us. Thor will be added to that team to make sure that, and he's built some great things at the places he's been, and I think that'll be a huge asset to us as we go down the line and ultimately address these things in the next probably 2 to 3 years, over a phased approach.
Are there any specific things that you're willing to tell us about with the stadium improvements that you've thought about?
Yeah, so we still need to address a number of ADA considerations. It's an old building. We're going to make sure that we're addressing things for all of our patrons, so that's important to us. We're going to look at seating opportunities that bring revenue back, so have some ROI attached to them. And then I don't think it's any surprise that the aesthetic, especially when you come in the east side of the stadium through Bernie Dallas Mall, and when you enter campus, it's the first thing people see when they come on campus, right? For the most part, when they look to the left. And for us, that has to be addressed. So, all new gate, infrastructure there, the facing on the facade on the side of the stadium, what that looks like. Construction, there's a lot of cost to things. And just to take down sides of the stadium was going to be prohibitively costly. And so we're going to try to figure out how to address it and modernize it in a way that's going to appeal to our fans, to our recruits, to current team members, and ultimately make it a place that people don't just want to go for 6 games and commencement every year, but we might be able to drive more activity through in future years, concerts and other types of things. So this is really just the beginning, candidly. I mean, there's going to be some things we're going to address in the next 3 years, and there's a longer range plan that I think that we'll find probably will materialize, at least in planning stages, ideally in the next 3 to 5 years. That will be a long-term strategy for the stadium. But this will be a really good first blush of reimagining what McGirt can be and how it'll act and look and feel.
Thor, when do you actually get started? And once you get to meet everybody, what are the first things on your to-do list?
Thank you. I started December 1st, will be my first day. And, the first thing that I always do when I go to a different place is spend the time getting to know the people and doing the outreach to find out where the challenge is, what needs to be worked on. I think that's one of the areas that will be really important. I can have my own assessments from afar, but that's meaningless until you hear from Coach, hear from Ryan, hear from other members of the department, and even some of the previous coaches that are good friends, to say, hey, as we're trying to really get this thing going in the right direction, what are some things that you think I need to be focusing on? I'll have my own assessments as I go forward, but I think identifying those are really important. When I think about my time over these last 18 years, that's one of the things I think I've developed the most. Identifying reasons of why you struggle, and then working with the right people to figure out solutions and how you can make it better. And so that's what I plan on doing for the first month, and sitting down and really getting a sense of what there's a lot of great things here. So what's the good and what needs to be worked on? And that's exciting to me. It's really getting energized. And walking back in here, I got really energized.
Thor, you hired Jim Fleming at URI, and it took time for them to turn that program around. Can you just talk about the patience it takes to build a program up and really turn it around?
when I think about one of the mistakes, and I say this a lot, one of the mistakes I made as a 39-year-old AD in year one was probably making a coaching change too soon. And why do I say that? We struggled, but there was reasons for it. And I think I listened to maybe some people I shouldn't have listened to instead of identifying the why. Because sometimes you have to work really hard to maybe not be as good as you want to be. And when you can start identifying those things and start working on them and plugging those, putting those pieces together, you can start experiencing success. And then you put the measurements together. And so when I think about our time with Coach Flem, who is a great coach, and what he's built at Rhode Island is really special and something that I'll take great pride in, I think we were able to identify those challenges. We had a president, Mark Parlange, who's there now, who's a great friend and a great leader. He made some incremental investments that made huge differences. And so those are the types of things that you have to do. And I'll tell you, I'm going to say it again. When Ryan reached out to me, when I talk about vision, that's what I'm talking about. And it's not just vision, it's there's going to be deliverables. And I think that's exciting. So I'll certainly go back on my time at Rhode Island to think about those things and think about ways. It's different. The challenges are going to be different. But at the end of the day, the evaluation of a challenge is really not that much different. And then working with these guys to come up with solutions is what's going to be important to help make us better.
Thor, obviously 18 years of success, development at URI. Why leave?
I'll tell you, this is home, My wife, Cindy, went here. We met here. I was here for, played football here, got my sport management degree here, got my master's degree here, worked here for 14 years, was part of some amazing, successful programs. I was thinking about driving up and thinking about the national championship game in football, thinking about the national championship runner-up, thinking about traveling with Elaine Sortino twice to the College World Series, being with Greg Cannella in Philadelphia for the national championship game where we lost to Virginia, being the ticket manager for Cal's run to the Final Four. Those are great memories and something I'm really proud of. And I know, that's all doable here and continue to do under Ryan's leadership. I know we have to, look at some of the things around, football success. Great, I'm fired up for that. Let's go. We've done it. We can do it again. So why leave? I was saying this to a few people yesterday because it sounds cliche. I wouldn't leave for anywhere else. I wouldn't. I loved Rhode Island. I love my president. I love the fact that my family, my daughter Robin, who's here, and son-in-law Phil, thank you for coming. It was a big part of our lives. But college athletics, it becomes a very family, passionate thing. My wife's really excited. My kids are really excited to be part here because they know that we had so many special experiences. So why leave a place that I truly love, working for a boss I truly love? It's to come back to a place that I really love and made a huge impact on my life.
And for either of you, Thor, I know in addition to your football responsibilities, you're going to have other responsibilities with the athletic department. Have you guys talked about what the chain of command is going to look like when it comes to football decisions and just other athletic department decisions?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately the authority will rest with me on any department decisions relative to this program or any of our programs. But now I've got somebody who can advise me, who's sitting in this building on anything that's related to football. And there's things that Joe and I have been able to talk about strategy-wise for now months, and to know that I can have somebody else having those conversations every day, every hour with him, and then the two of them can say, hey, this is what we think we need to do, or how we need to pivot or adjust or change our posture. I think that's a huge advantage for us and for me as a leader. So ultimately, those things will all rest with me, but I have a tremendous excitement to make sure that Thor has the authority too. As I referenced, I'm going to be, I'm doing a lot of traveling. I'm raising a lot of money. We're in the end of a campaign. There's a lot of things we want to get done to support these programs, and especially football. And I have tremendous belief and feel strongly that in my stead, when I'm gone, Thor can make decisions not only for football but for the department as well. So that's a real asset for me and for this organization.